Salut coders, this is Bisky here. Welcome back to another tutorial. Warm greetings to those who are joining us for the first time. So in this tutorial, I want to focus more on the artificial intelligence in Spring Boot. So people are talking about large language modeling for the past 1 year because of after the introduction of OpenAI ChatGPT. But right now, we want to focus more also on that large language modeling, generative AI. So if you don't want to miss any videos, may you please subscribe, click the notification bell so that you'll be notified whenever I upload new videos. You can also visit our Code with Bisq website, where we put the videos first before they are available on other channels like YouTube or Udemy or Tutorials Point. So please go and enroll for the courses that are available on our platform. So let's continue with our AI with Spring Boot. So Spring AI is something new, and people are not familiar with the artificial intelligence, but we are bringing artificial intelligence into Spring. Most of AI is done in Python, but the Spring guys are making it less complexity, remove the complexity which is not necessary to develop generative AI application, to bring artificial intelligence into your application. So I will go through step by step how to set up a Spring Boot project. This is an introductory video, so I want you to understand all the concepts that are necessary to build an artificial intelligence application. So there are things that they talk here. It was inspired by LangChain. As you can see here, this project module was inspired by LangChain. And if you don't know about LangChain, you can go on Google and you can type about LangChain. And it has a lot in Python and JavaScript. But right now there's an open source which is LangChain for J, which is LangChain for Java, and you can see the examples. We can also do the same like what we are doing in Spring, but this one is more focusing on the Java, not related to any framework. The same code you run on Quarkus can run on any Java application, but here I'm more focusing on the Spring. We can have a playlist for LangChain for Java in the future. So with this Spring, these are the advantages which they provide. Support major models like OpenAI, Microsoft, Hugging Face, and also Bedrock from AWS. They can offer you the chat, where you can chat like what you do with ChatGPT. You can also do the same in your Spring project. They also support vector database such as Azure and Chroma. All these vector database you are being supported, and I will take you through about this vector database in few minutes later. So there are terms that you need to understand before you start to work on this. Before you start with Spring AI. So I will explain to you these terms. Let's go to the AI concept, and I can explain to you more about this concept. So you can see we are talking about models, and when ChatGPT introduced, you heard about large language models. So what is a model? These are algorithms designed to process or generate information mimicking the human cognitive. So the way humans talks, the way human thinks, reason, these models are designed in that pattern. So ChatGPT came as a game changer because it was mimicking how human thinks, giving you able to think, able to respond, not going off topics. So these models are designed. So which models are we going to use? These are the list of models that we are going to use. We have ChatGPT, we have Aloma, we have Bedrock, we have open sources which are out there, and you can see these models also mimic how the humans does. So this is a model. So what is we need to understand about prompts. So a prompt, when it came, like if you are, a prompt is like you are instructing your system what to do. So you can say this system is for marketing, it serves this purpose and this purpose and this purpose. And with the prompt, either there's a system row and there's a user row. So for a system row, user can give questions to a system and the system responds. Based on what the system responds, it keep track of history of what was really happening. So this one, we shall have we shall have a separate video for prompts, and also we have prompt templates whereby it's just the same. We have your template and we are replacing values with this. Then we have the term called embeddings. What is embedding? If you want to work with the vector database, you need to know what is an embedding. So don't be shocked about the term embedding. Embeddings, let's say we have text, we have images. These images are now transformed into embeddings. These embeddings are like vectors, array of numbers, of doubles. So don't think anything. Embeddings, we are transforming or we are changing a word or image into array of numbers. That's all. That's what you need to know. So if you are saving your data into the vector database, we are saving them as an embedding. When we are doing prediction, similar search, we are looking into those vectors. So that's why we said vector database. So we are that's the crucial part of embedding. So it's fast for unstructured data to look similarities, to do prediction, to do recommendations also. So you can use also these embeddings to look for a product similar to other products. Then we have also tokens. What do you want to know more about tokens? ChatGPT talking about tokens. They talk about frame size. So these tokens, like you ask a question, and this question, you can ask a question, and this question can be converted into tokens, and you get a response and convert it into tokens. So when you are charged about 10,000 tokens, it means the question that you ask plus the result that you asked. In total, you'll be the number of tokens. So you can ask a question, but in your model. So if you ask a question, you have the frame size. If it's allowed like 16K, it means you cannot you can go above 15K tokens. So you can get a result limited to that tokens. So that you need to know more about it. So we also have bringing your data to the AI model. You can get your data from your PDFs, from your text, from anywhere, and you can bring it in your application, and you can now make it reasonable using these AI models. Then we have Retrieval-Augmented Generations, which is RAG. Here, thinking of loading the data, splitting this data into documents. After splitting the data, now save them into your database, translate the data. This data can be also from the PDF documents, and you are doing ETL. So this process and everything now involved, like embedding this data, saving the data, retrieving data. So this is what you call a RAG. So we are going to learn more about this in this tutorial, in the next coming tutorials. So what else do you need to know more about this AI, Spring AI? So in this Spring AI module, we have things that I want to talk about. We have vector database. Now you know now we have talked about the models of ChatGPT, of Azure, of Bedrock, of Alama. All these models, you can use them on your application. Some of them, like they are open source. Some of them you have to pay, like ChatGPT or Llama. It's a free one. We can have a tutorial where we are using a free one to that going on internet, retrieving data, predict the data, search the data without involving ChatGPT, all sorts of things. But now you now understand about these models. They are very intelligent, think, reason based on the question that you asked. So where do this data being stored? How is the data being stored? This is my question. We have to know about vector database. There are a lot of vector database. out there. Some of them are free. We have this called Chroma. It's this type of, another type of vector database. You can run it on Docker. You can run a Docker. It also has a free version, and you can try it on their platform. And we also have this Pinecone. This is also a vector database. It's available also in AWS. It's popular. AI came into play. These guys made a lot of effort to develop this Pinecone, and it's good. Then we have another one called Postgres vector database. It's just an extension of Postgres. This one is an open source. So in this one, we are going, in our feature tutorials, we are going to use the Postgres vector data store. So how this data is being stored, let me show you as an example. So we have this example. You can see I have this you have this content which we saved, right? And we have the metadata. We will see later about the metadata. And we have this embedding. It means this text that you are seeing here has been converted into embeddings. So this is the embedding. This is the vector. That's why we are calling this vector database. So if you are searching for similarities, it's easier using this unstructured data to search something that is similar using these numbers, and you can get the result as quickly as possible as compared to search to our traditional database like MySQL, Mongo, those graph database. So this one is going to be simpler, and even for recommendation, we are going to use these embeddings. So all of our data will be stored as an embedding. So this is the embedding. That's why I told you an image will be converted into embedding. Text can be converted into embedding, and you can search on the image. You can search on, now everything is now as embedding. It's now like one thing. You doesn't know, is it an image? Is it a text? What is it? So this is the embedding part. So how does this work? So we need in our application, we need to connect to a database. As this is an example, you need to have a Postgres running, and you connect to a database. You put your username and password to your database, and after this is running, you see here we are using vector store of PG vector database, and this is the dimension that we are going to use. And if you go to our application, what you are doing is simple. We have this list of documents. So in future, we shall read this data from a PDF file, right? And we can save this into a vector database. So here you can see I just created this list of documents, and after creating this list, I just saved this into the database. This is the data you are seeing here, and this is the embedding. So once you are looking for similarities here, when you are doing the similarity search, it will search into the what? In those vectors, and it will retrieve results as quickly as possible. So this is how it works, and here you can get the result. After searching Spring, it will search for this Spring, and you get everything that is Spring Rock. We have a lot that we need to cover in this playlist. This is going to be a Spring AI module, and I'm going through step by step to set up the project to add these dependencies from the models that you are going to use, the vectors that you are going, the vector database that you are going to use, and how to run this database, how your application is going to integrate with this vector database, how to have a sample application, a demo application that does a generative AI, and I'll walk you through step by step in Spring. Most of you are watching these videos and not subscribed. May you kindly subscribe. Visit our Code with Bisq, where you get the latest video tutorials each and every week. So in this tutorial, we are creating a Spring application where we can ask a question to OpenAI using Spring AI module. This is a new module in town, and everyone is talking about it. So for this example, I can put a question here, tell me more about AI. Then we create a question, and let's wait for a response. This is the response that we are getting. So we can ask also a different question, or like so by end of this tutorial, you'll be able to create this project, a Spring project, where we can ask questions, integrate with ChatGPT AI model, and use this API, and you'll be able to configure and creating also embeddings of your application. In this tutorial, we are going to create a demo project of Spring AI. We are start from scratch and starting to add the dependencies that we need to run a Spring AI project. We are going to cover a lot like the embedding and the chat models. We are going to use OpenAI, and I will show you how to create a token for AI to configure that token in our project. So let's get started. So here in our getting started page, you can see there's a you can use a Spring client where we can add an AI to existing project, but for us we want to create it from scratch. So let's visit startspring.io website. And here I want to let's use this stable version 3.2.4 by the day of making this video, and I use Maven. Here I will say my group will be code with Bisq. And for artifact, I'll just say demo AI. And here I'll just say AI. For Spring Boot AI, this is the, and I'm using Java 17, or I can use 21, it's fine. And I can add dependency. And this dependency is, I want to use web in future. I think we are going to use web. And I want also to use Lombok. Maybe we need to map our data. That's okay. And I can generate this. So after generating this, it has been downloaded into our directory. So let's open the project. Go to your downloads and unzip and open the project. So this is our demo project. So we need to set up the dependencies for OpenAI we need to set up dependencies for Spring AI. So we go to our POM file and we can go to our documentation. Here we can close this thing and go to get started. The first thing that they are talking is to add these repositories. So let's add these repositories. In here, I just put them below here, and I can come back again to the documentation. For Maven, you can, if you chose a Gradle, you can do this. And we need to add this dependent management, and I can copy the dependent management, and I can come here. I usually prefer to put it just above dependencies, right? After doing this, let's try to sync. Yeah, our project is synced successfully. So we are okay. This is how we can add these AI dependencies, and make sure you are using Spring, the latest Spring 3.2. So the next thing that we can do, we can start with the embeddings. Let's open the embeddings, but before I spoke about embeddings. Embeddings, let's say we have your text that in your application, you want to convert it to embeddings, like those arrays, those vectors. So this is we can use the embedding API for OpenAI, for Azure, for Olama to do that, to transform any word to embeddings. So let's see by an example. So the first thing, let's open the Spring AI, OpenAI embeddings, right? So we need to add this configuration, a Spring AI key. So we need to generate this key. So what you need to do is to go to visit platform openai.com. You can visit this website. After visiting this website, you can select the API keys. So if you don't have an account, you can create an account. Then you create new secret key. In this one, I will say demo AI Spring Boot, a default project, and I can create this key. Make sure you copy this key and save it somewhere. So I will copy the key, and you only see it once. So after copying the key, I need to configure it into my project. So let me go to resources, here I prefer to use this one. It's dot properties. I prefer the YAML. So let me just refactor and change here to YAML. So when it is YAML, we just do this and we can configure. So for AI, so far I have this key in my clipboard. Let me just put here and let's add the configuration that I told you. Here it's going to be let me just comment for now. Let me just comment this. Don't worry about this thing, we can configure it later. So after doing this, let's come to our embeddings. This is the way of adding we need to add this OpenAI. We can use the Spring Boot starter dependency for OpenAI. So just copy this dependence and we can download it. So let's go to our POM XML and we can go to the dependencies. In our dependence, let's paste this. The version is coming from this one. No, that's why we are putting a version dependence management. So if you see here, it is downloaded. So after downloading, we are not having any error. We need now to say Spring here. It's now there. I can say open this one. I can put this one. And the key is the one that we copied here. And we can paste our key. This is how you configure this key, right? If I try to run, let's try to run the project and see if everything is okay. Let's just enable Lombok annotation. You can see it's okay here. And if I remove this configuration, let me remove this and try to run. It will say the OpenAI key, we are going to have an error. You can see. So it means our dependencies are working fine. OpenAI key must be set. So here, if I do this, it means we set our OpenAI key. So we are ready to use the OpenAI functionalities in our project. So what's next now? I want to create a new package called services, AI services, or I just say OpenAI package service, and I will create a new Java class. I will say OpenAI services implementation. I will put the interface later. So far I don't know what I'm going to do. So here I'll put it service, and I put it required, I think this one, it required Axe constructor. And also I can put also SL for logging Lombok. I want to use this one for Lombok. Then let's see one of our example. So we are in embeddings. We want to use this embedding client for OpenAI to convert our text into vectors or into arrays. And these arrays are the ones that we save into the database, are used for similar search, for everything, how the AI works. So this is the getting started page. So here we have this one called embedding response, and we can copy this logic. I will just say public. I'll just say I'll call it this string embedding example. Then I'll paste this and I'll do this. So here you can see we need an embedding client. We need an embedding client. This is from, we can use this one, which is from OpenAI. It's okay. Let's use this one for Spring. So what we need here, we need to the embedding client. So let's make this private. Final I can say open, I will say open AI. I think it's called embedding client, this one. And I'll just say embedding client. You can see here we have it's auto wired. This one exists. So I can just do this and I can replace it here. So if we go this, we auto wired this thing, and our AI we're able to embed this text. So we are expecting to get results here. So what is in our response? Here is supposed to be a list of vectors. We have this list of embeddings, and in our embeddings we have this list. So what we can do, this one is not a response here. Here we can say a list of double. So this is the details that we want. Here it's supposed to be a capital letter D, like this. Then we can do this now. We can get these results. We can do this dot var stream, or you can use the for each embedding. We can get now the values. We get this output and we just say dot var. This is the double, and here we can say a list. We can do this. We can create embeddings. We can create this when we say embeddings. And we can just say an array list here. And we can add this output dot add output. We can just say add all. We can add all here, and here we can return this. So let's just print this log info.info. I'll just say embeddings. And we want to print these embeddings, all of them. And these embeddings are for this. And this one could be converted to the embeddings. And these embeddings can be served into our database. So what we need to do here, so far we need to run this. So before we run this, let's go to the demo application. I want to implement command line runner. So far I didn't add any REST API command line runner. So I just want this to test. I want to test this when the application runs. And here I will just say private final OpenAI service implementation, this one. Just say it required Axe constructor. Then here we just say dot embed example, and we'll see our result. So let's run our application and see the output. So here we have an exception. Let's see the error. It's a model issue that you are facing here. It's because we just copied the model. We just copied a model here on our example. So what we need to do, we see this is the embedding model that we can use. Let's copy this embedding model. And let's go to our implementation, and we can change our embedding model. And let's try to run our application. As you can see, this is the vector, this is the embedding that we have from this text. And by using these vectors, we can now easily search data from this embedding. So this is how it works, and this is how to generate this embedding. So with these embeddings, that's what you need on your AI application to save this embedding and try to fetch this data from your database. So what next do you need to know more? We need now to go to the here I just showed you an example of using OpenAI. For this, we are just using OpenAI model. We are going to add the models later in our future videos. So what you can do here, we are done. We are done. This is what you need to know to create the embeddings. So we are done with the embeddings. So if you are done with the embeddings, let's just go to the chat model, this one, and we want to create this chat model. And we want to use this OpenAI. So we just ask a question to a OpenAI and we get a response. So what we can go to OpenAI. We already added this dependence for OpenAI, so we are okay. So we need to see the implementation of doing this. The implementation is just using the chat client. So it's going to be OpenAI chat client, and we can ask a question and we can get a response. So let's go to this, and this is our code. Let's copy our code. This one was for embedding example, and you can get the data. So here I will just create another one, which is public string result, chat result. And here I'll just say string. It's going to be the question that we want to ask to our OpenAI. And we can paste this. And let's import the prompt. I already explained to you about this prompt here. It's a float here. Convert this, put an F. So in our prompt, here we need this one is chat client, so it's going to be OpenAI chat client. Remember, OpenAI chat client, and here just say client. You can see the injection is working fine, and we are able to use this. So the model, based on our key, I didn't subscribe for ChatGPT for mine. I think is 3.5. Yeah, I think it's 3.5. 3.5 here turbo. So we ask a question, and here on our response we just say we want to return the result, and we can get result, get output, and we can get the content. So let's go to where we are calling this one, and here it's going to return a string. We just say what are the key features of Java. It's just a question, and we want to get a result. We will return this, and we just say, and it will list all the key features. So I can comment this. So before I test this, I need to confirm this version of our model. So here in our content, we just replace this with the question that we are passing here. So let's go to our, let me check the version of this. Yeah, the version is correct here. Here it's supposed to be 3.5. I'm not supposed to put a dash. And let's test our logic if we are going to get a response from here. So as you can see, after I ask the question, this is the response that we get from our ChatGPT. And Java is object-oriented, platform independent, simple and easy to learn. So this is how you can ask a question to your application, ask a question to your ChatGPT using these models, and it's easy with the Spring AI. If it was difficult, if you are using other frameworks out there, but you can see how this was created, how to integrate with OpenAI, it's much easier. So what we need to do next, I want to just create a REST controller, new package. I just say API, and I'll create new Java class. This one I can say OpenAI API, and it's going to be a REST controller. At request mapping, and I need to copy this class. Private final. Let's import this, and its constructor dependent injections. Since I'm using Lombok, I will just say add required acts constructor, and here I'll just say ask a question chat. Here I'll just return a string public string chat, and here I'll pass a question either as a request parameter. I'll just say add request param string question, and just say return OpenAI service dot chat, and I put my question here, and here I'll just say and here I'll just say OpenAI. I can say chat, or I can just say ask question. We want to ask a question, or I can do it as a put mapping. Let me do it as a post mapping. I can ask a question to this, and it's going to be an OpenAI. And the other thing that I want to do is to change the context here. I just say, if you just say context, I will just say my context will be Spring AI. And the other thing that I would love to do is to change the port, usually server port. I prefer to change a port to a different port, maybe 67. This is the number that came into my mind, a random number for my application. So after doing this, I can run and test this. Here in my application here, I want to remove, let me go to my application. I'm no longer need to code this here. I want to call it on my API, and I can run this, and I can open Postman. And it's going to be a post mapping. Here it's going to be localhost at port 6 and 67. Context path is Spring AI, OpenAI, this one, because we are going to use other models, so I want to differentiate by model. Spring AI, and question, and I'll just say question, just say what are the key features of Java. This is the question, and I can send a request. So let's wait for a response. So the AI is doing its calculations. You can see we get the response. We ask the question, and these are the key features that we get. You can ask any different question here. Tell me more about AI. It's another question that you can ask to our application. You can see we are now getting this response from our AI model, which is OpenAI model ChatGPT. In this tutorial, we are focusing on vector database, and we are going to have an example of PG vector database. There are a lot of vector database out there like Pinecone, Neo4j, Chroma, and some of them are paid one, pay as you use, and some of them are free. So the PG vector is a free one. That's why I chose it. Chroma, you can also deploy it on your local and you can use it. It's a free one. Pinecone, you can use Pinecone Cloud. It's available on AWS and you can start to use it. So what's the purpose of this video, and what is it really important to know this vector database? This vector database helps us to store embeddings. These embeddings are just array of numbers, and we are now using similarity search. It's different from MySQL, Mongo, where we are doing this exact search, but here we want to find elements which are similar to each other. So if you are doing artificial intelligence, you need a vector database so that you can use the AI models to find a best similarity search based on the data that is stored in your vector database. So let's get started. So we have an API overview for this vector store, and this vector store, this is the vector store is the abstract class, like the superclass. So this database like Chroma, PG vector, they extend this vector store, and we are going to store our documents. And in previous tutorial, I showed you how to create these documents, and you want to save those documents into our database, and you can delete and you can do similarity search to find data which is similar to the text a user provided. So before we go to the dependence, we want to use vector, PG vector, and from the PG vector, we need to add PG vector dependency. We can add this dependency, just copy this, and we can open our project and we can paste. After pasting, let's sync the dependencies. You can do Maven, reload, and it will download the dependency. After the dependency has been downloaded, we can come back here. We need to add the configurations. So if you are using Gradle, you can add this to your Gradle. So we need to add this database connection, the data source. And in our data source, we can go to application here and we can paste this. So the username is going to be Postgres and the password is going to be Postgres. So here is going to be the database that we are going to store our embeddings. So I have this Docker Compose YAML file, and you can download. You can also get this. So from this Docker Compose, we have this Postgres, which is we are using this image, which is PG vector, and this version that we are currently using. And the username is Postgres, password for Postgres, and the DB is going to be vector store. That's the DB name. So these are importance and the port that we want to connect to. So let's run this Docker Compose app. So our application is now running here, as you can see, and the Docker Compose is now running, and since we have connected to this database, if we try to run the application, we won't have any issue. But in our Docker Compose, we have this database that we want to use. Let's update it here, and we can try to run our application. So we don't have any connection issue, like an error when try to connect to our database. Let's say I change the username to 1 and see if you are going to have an error. You can see we have a connection error, invalid username or password. So it means our connection to the database, it's okay for this vector database. So what we need to do now is to, let's go to our Java class in our service. On our OpenAI here, I just want to create a class. We want to create a new method that we want, then we can store the data into our vector database. So what we need to do, I just say public void embeddings. Let's go to our documentation. In our documentation, we want to say to run this. We have this list of embeddings. So what we need to do, let's just copy and paste this, and we can import the document, and it's from Spring AI. After doing this, let's come back again, and we want to save this into our vector store. So copy this, and we can paste the documents, and here it's going to be a list of vector store. So let's delete this, and we can save this. So we need here, let's put the query search that you want to search here, and let's put a map. So these are the keys that we are going to save. So what I can do now, we want to initialize our vector store, and our vector store is going to be a PG vector. So let's look for the configuration for a PG vector. So let's auto wire this, which is the vector store that we have here, and we can paste it here, make it private, final, and we can import this. So this one is our vector, and the vector that we currently have, it's PG vector. This one, we want to use this PG vector, and it means based on our connection, it will save this into our PG vector database. So we can do this now. Everything is now okay. So how do we test this? I can test this. I'm not going to create an endpoint. I'm going here, and here I'll just say OpenAI service. We can save the embeddings here, and we can save this text document. Each document, we are going to save each document here. So the first document is going to Spring AI, and then here we are going to look for the search for the Spring, and we are supposed to get these results. So what we can do, I just say, let's print the results. I can say, let's get at position 0. I want to get at position 0, get content. And I will get the result. So we want to search a similar search of this Spring into our database. So when this data is being saved, it's not being saved as this. We are going to save it as embeddings, which is arrays of numbers. So let's run our application. You can see after saving our record into the database, you can see we did this search, and after searching, we get the result, which is Spring AI. So we get the record by looking by similarity search. It just searched this into our database. So let's see what is in our database. We can create a new data source, and the data source is going to be Postgres, and the username, remember, it's Postgres. The password is Postgres, and here it's going to be vector store. And here we just say demo AI. So we can test our connection here. Just edit your username and password as it is in our Docker Compose YAML. Yeah, this is the vector store and the username and password. And then go to your data grip and I can test connection. The connection is successful and you click OK. Once this is successful, let's come here and see what is in our database. This is the vector store database. We can go to public tables. This is the database which was created. If you see these columns, these are the same as the one that they told us to create manually. These ones, our Spring project will create these columns for us. So you can see this is the data, the document, the content that we saved, and this is the embedding. So we use these embeddings, these arrays, to find the similarity search. So when you find Spring, it look into these embeddings, not this content. This content, we are just saving it in case that we are just saving it to know the document that we saved here. That's only, and this is the document ID. So if you want to delete this ID, if you want to update, and later on we are going to use this metadata. We will see when you are doing the ETL, where we are going to save the metadata, and also filter by this metadata in future tutorials. In this tutorial, I would want to show you how you can import any PDF documents, Word documents, PowerPoint documents, PDF documents, anything that you think of JSON into your project, and ask a question to the document using OpenAI, any model or Bedrock or Llama 3 into your artificial intelligence project. So how are we going to solve this? I will show you step by step how to do it. Import the document, split it into chunks, creating embeddings, and then save the details into the database and create a chatbot that we can ask questions about the documents that you have loaded into your system, and the application will answer based on the documents that you provided. If you are new to this channel, may you kindly subscribe, click the notification bell so that you'll be notified whenever we upload new video. This whole process, we call it ETL, and it's a backbone of a RAG processing. So let's get started. So this is the process of ETL. So what we are going to do, we want to have a PDF document, which is a disease handbook as an example. You can import documents like Word documents, PowerPoint, JSON, HTML documents. I will show you the library that you can use to read these documents. Well, after you read the documents, we need to split it into chunks. Think of we have a book of 1000 pages and you want to persist this let's say those pages into the database. So you need to split it into chunks, which is a limit of the supported tokens that are allowed by ChatGPT. So it will break these pages or paragraphs into chunks and you can persist them into chunks. Then these chunks are now the documents. From this document, there's an abstract class for document, and in those documents you are going to have embeddings. So the embeddings are necessary so that we need to store them into our vector database. So we are going to have these embeddings. After having these embeddings, we save this into our vector database, and we are going to use vector store. I told you about PG vector store, Pinecone, and also Chroma. So in this tutorial, we are going to use a PG vector store. So after we are done with this finishing process, we are going to chat with the document, asking questions about the disease, and from those diseases we get the answers using our local documents that we uploaded. So let's go to the documentation of Spring, and we go to API, and we want to talk more about ETL pipeline. So in this pipeline, I told you we need a document reader, so we need to read these documents. So we are going to use a PDF document reader to read these documents. Then these documents will be splitted into documents of small chunks, and these documents, this process is transforming, and we are going to use text token text splitter, whereby it will be splitted into chunks. Then after that, we can store the data into our database. This is where we are having document writer, and the vector store will be writing this into our database. So the interface, the abstract interface, is document reader, and other readers that we have, like the PDF document reader, we extend this class. So here, this is an example of text reader. You can see we are reading it from the text. The file name is .txt. For JSON, you can use JSON reader. And for PDF, if you are reading from a PDF, we use a PDF document reader. And this one is almost the same, but we are reading paragraph by paragraph. And this one, we are reading by pages. And we need to transform this document. And by transforming, you create it into what? To batches, so that you'll be ready for processing. So that's the process of ETL, and it is the backbone of RAG processing. So the next thing that we can do now, let's go to the code. So now we can go to our code, and we want to use an example of page PDF document reader. So let's open our code. So here I have added this document, which is a disease handbook. You can see it has the diseases that are common for children, maybe at the age of 5 years, the immunization. So we are going to ask questions to this document. So we need to read this document, transform it into chunks, and save it into our database. So what we need to do now, so I downloaded this document, and you can get this code on our GitLab. So this is the document, and we need to add this dependency, which is a Spring AI PDF document reader. So we need to add this, and we can import this dependence. So this is a continuation of our previous tutorial. We want to store these embeddings, PDF embeddings, into the database, and we are storing it into the vector database, which is a Postgres database. So let's go to our code. In our OpenAI, here we want now to create a method that can read that document and persist it into the database. So we can, and I can call this method public void. I can call my method PDF document ETL. So this is our method, and what we need to do first, I want to delete everything that is in the database. So what I want to do, I want to inject a JDBC template here. JDBC template. And I can go back into my method here, and I can use update, and I want to delete everything. Delete from vector store. This is the name. We want to delete everything that is in that table, and the table is called vector store. So if you haven't watched our previous tutorial, may you please watch it, because this is a continuation. So after deleting this, now we need to read. So we need to extract document. This is the first step. So our first step, we need to take this method. Let's take this method, and we can paste it here. And we need to import this. It's a document reader. We can import this, and we can do this here, and we can do this also here. So from this, we have managed to read this document. And once we read this, once we have this one, if you go here, it can return. If you do this get, we can get the list of the documents. You can see if you do this get, you can get this list of documents. So let me copy this and come here. we can have this list of documents. But before I do this, we want to use a var. I told you we want to use a token text splitter. So I can just say text splitter because I want to split this document into chunks. New token text splitter like this. And once I have, and I want to use this token splitter to split these documents, so I can do this dot apply, and I can pass the documents that we have, and it also return also documents. So what I can do now, I have a vector store connected here to our database. Now I want to save this into the database. So we want to load these documents into the database. So I'll just say vector store dot accept. After doing this, we have saved this, and I can just print out something like done processing. So here it allows a class path. It will be either a resource. It's a resource. So this class path, our name of our document is this one. We can refactor this. We can do this, and we can put this here. So this is our document. So it either requires a string or you can pass a resource. So after we are done with the processing, we need to call this method, and I can copy this method and I can go into my here. I want to call this method. I can say OpenAI example, the name of our method, and you can call this method, and it will delete everything. After deleting, we can read our document, and we can split it into chunks, and we can save it into our database. Let's try to open our database and see if we have anything there. So our vector store, we can refresh. The database is empty. So we need to run this project, and we can see it splitting and save the records. So let's test this one. So let's run our application. You can see the document is being splitted into chunks. Let's wait until we see the done processing. So you can see we have done, the processing is completed. Let's refresh our database and see the records. Yeah, this is the disease, and these are the embeddings. So we are going to use our chat application to get this data, to find what's the disease, and ask questions and get answers from these embeddings. This content is just like to know which content has been saved, and this content has been translated to these embeddings. So if you are using vector search, we don't use this content, we use these embeddings. So these ones are not necessary, and we will learn more about this metadata in our future tutorials. So in the next tutorial, we are going to implement our chat application, ask question to this document that we have saved into our database. And I want to show you how we can develop a chatbot, and you can ask question to the data that we loaded into our database. And we did an ETL process. We extracted our data from the PDF, and we saved this data into our vector store database. So I showed you how to do this on our previous tutorial, and now you can able to ask a question. As a user, you can ask question, and we are going to integrate with ChatGPT OpenAI model to answer these questions, and this data are locally stored. And you can see this, we have our embeddings in our PG vector database. So let's get started. If you are new to this channel, may you kindly subscribe, click the notification bell so that you'll be notified whenever we upload new video. And for this series, we are more focusing on artificial intelligence with Spring Framework. So in our project, we want to create a new class, and we can call it AI chatbot. And our chatbot, we want to let's make it a service so that it can be added into inversion of container. Then here, let's add a required Axe constructor. I'm using Lombok, so instead of writing constructors like this, you can say we can do this private. And I want to use OpenAI client, so I can say OpenAI chat client. So since we are doing this, you can see we didn't auto wire because we want to use constructor dependence injection, and we want to also load data to search this data from our local database. So we need to add a vector store. So we need to auto wire this like with constructor dependence injection. So if I say generate constructor like this, you can see we can auto wire this using constructor dependence injection, but I'm using a required Axe constructor. So this one, it's a dirty code. I don't like this, so I can make it private. Final. And the code is much cleaner. If I click this vector store, you can see it's a PG vector store. This one, so we are using a PG vector database, which is a Postgres database extension to store these embeddings. So we want to ask questions to these embeddings. So what I can do here, I can make a public string chat. So here, this is the message a user will ask to our chatbot and our database. They work together. So I will show you how these things will work together. And this is our message. And we want to return the result that with the correct information about the answer based on your question you asked. So with let's return now. So we ask these questions to this document, and it is a list of diseases, and we can ask questions to this document, and this document is the one that we saved into the database. If you can see, maybe on top of this document, you can see this disease handbook. If I open this document, and if I go here, you can see this is the content which has been served on our first document. But when we are searching this data, we are finding similarity using this vector database. Like, don't worry about embeddings, it's just arrays of numbers. So if you are new to this channel, or if you haven't watched our previous tutorials, you can watch our previous tutorial where we're explaining more about embeddings so that you'll be understand better with this Spring AI module. It's new, and in this series, I want you to understand everything and think of how you can use it on your business idea. So now we can come back here. So from this, the first thing we want to look for for the question, like the similarity. A user will ask a question, and we want to look those details from the database. So we can do vector store, and we can do a similarity search, and we can get we can pass this message. So if a user, let me do this, and here we can get list of documents. If a user asked something like a question about ask question to our database about how can we spread, how can the spread of this disease be prevented, and this thing, we know that we have saved it into our database, and we'll be able to answer this question using this with the help of the ChatGPT LLM model. So let's continue. So after we have this data, I want to get the content. So if you find these similarities, we will get maybe a list of documents, maybe this row, like the first, maybe the similarity will be maybe this row, or can be this row, and can be this row. So I want to get the content that is inside here. So this content, and I want to do the similarity search from this content, and I want to look for the data and using our OpenAI. So what I can do here, I can come here and I can loop this. I want to get the content from these documents. So if you go to this document, you can see we have the content, we have the meta, we have the embeddings. So we want to get the content. So we just say stream. From the stream, I want to map this document, this one, get content. So I want to get the content, then I want to collect this, and I want to use joining and system with line separators so that we can concatenate. Then this one, I can say documents strings. So once you have these document strings, I will show you an example what you have, the result that you are going to have. But right now, let's just print this out. I want to show you this document, and I want to let's copy this, and I want to go to the here, and let's inject this one also. This is our chatbot. So we have auto-wired this one here, chatbot, and here we need to do this. We can say chat. We want to grab this one. Let's grab this. I want to show you something. Let's go to our PDF. I want to just say, I want to copy this question, and you want to see it will return a list of documents. But once we return this list of documents, we want to use a ChatGPT to grab the necessary information. So what I can do after doing this, we just print the documents, like the similarity search, how this data is going to be, how we are going to get a similar data from this database. So let me run the application. Yeah, you can see after asking this question, you can see there are these, like this, you can see these are these things that are similar to the question that we asked. So we want ChatGPT to give us the correct details that are 1, 2, 3, so that all the other information is not necessary. So what we can do now, we want to create like a system a system message. So we can create let's create a template first. String, I can call it system, like this. So from our template, what we want to instruct this we want to instruct this to the we want to instruct our application what is supposed to behave. So that's the purpose of this template. So if you go to our documentation, let's open our documentation of prompts. We give like instructions to the system. So you can see this one is an example of the system. So based in our prompts, you are something like this, and you can help people to do this and this and this. So these are the instructions that we are giving. So you can, let's just copy a similar thing like this, and we can customize it here. So what you can do also, you can put these three like this. Yeah. So you are a assistant that helps people to do this and this and this. So let's go to our PDF document, and I can come here and I can copy the introduction. That can help with the disease, and I can copy this. That can help people to find, that can help people like this. That can help people questions about this and this and this. So I can do this about disease for children providers, right? Then we can go here and and we can just look for the introduction that we can put here. I can say the new like this, and I can copy this. This is the information. It's just an instruction that we are giving to our chatbot. So what we can do now, we can say use the information, means we want to use this information from the documents, or I can put this in caps, from the documents section, to provide an accurate answers. But just act like you know more about this. Then now we can put this document section here. Here we can say, we can put this document section, and we can now put this as a template, and we can just say documents. So these documents are these ones. This is going to be our documents. So we want to replace these documents into here. So we can replace it here. So what we need to do now, we need to create a system, a template. So we just say system prompt template, and we can, I can do this. If you don't know more about this template, you can see this is the system template that you want to do. You can do this, like copy this, and you can come here and you can replace it like this. So in our template here, it's going to be empty. I can put it here. Okay, no problem. I can put it, no, it's not empty. This is the template that we are going to pass here. And from here, let's import the map. And from this map, we want to pass this document. And the document will be this class. So let's now remove this and I can delete this. So may you please comment here? May you please comment and I can see your comments. And also like, share, subscribe to our channel. If you are new, may you please subscribe, click the notification bell so that you'll be notified whenever we upload new videos. So what we can do now, I'm looking for your comments, guys. I'm looking for your comments and your likes. May you please like this video. So here we get a message. This is our message. So from our message, we will create a list of prompts. So from the prompt, so before I do that, I want to show you here we have a user message. So we want to create also this user message. So the user message is the one that has been provided here. So this one was system message and this one is a user message. And let's import this. And our user message here, it's going to be the message that has been passed by a user on top here. So what we need to do, we need to pass a list of this prompt. So we have a list of this one, system. So the system, we're going to have these documents that we get from the database and a question a user has been asked. So what we can do, we just say prompt. This one prompt, make sure it's a new, create a new object, new prompt. And from this prompt, we want to pass a list of messages. So it's a list of, so I just say list of here, and we can pass these messages. We want to pass a system message and also a user message. And we can return this prompt. So from our, now we want now to we want the ChatGPT now to look for the correct answer based on the results that we have from our system and the question asked by a user. So we can use this chat client, and from the chat client we can call this method call, and we can pass this prompt. So this prompt, it knows that this is a system, and this is a user. So it will know how to answer this one. So after doing this, we can get this chat response. So from the chat response, we just say chat response. We want to get the result. Then get result dot get output, and we can then get content, and we can get this result. So let's test this now with the integration of our ChatGPT API model. So let's run the application again and see what we are going to have based on the question that we asked. So the question is, how can the spread of this disease be prevented? So, oh, sorry, maybe the answer has been returned, but I didn't print the answer here. Let me write, I will just say chat, or I will just say, I will say response, and I can run it again. So I'm looking to your comments, guys. Like, share the video. Yeah, as you can see now, this is the response that we get based on the question that we asked. So we asked about how can the spread of this disease can be prevented. And you can see based on the response that we are seeing here, we have point number 1, point number 2, point number 3. Ensure children in daycare immunize appropriately. It is recommended that all adults working in childcare setting, including volunteers, should have a proof of immunization. And this was the third one. So in the event of documented case of the measles or this you can see it is important to notify the New Hampshire Division Public Service. So now let's look into our document. Is this the correct answer? This point number 1, 2, 3. Let's go to our document. So let's go to our document and we can go to the question that we picked. So how can the spread of this disease can be prevented? And you can see the ChatGPT have managed to read this data from this document, but we persisted this document into our database. You can see here, this is the first answer that we got, and this is the second answer that we got. Recommendation of adults in childcare, including volunteers, should have proof of immunization. And also you can see if a documented case measles, you can see must notify this, and this answer is these answers are the same as they are. So we have managed to integrate with ChatGPT and also with our local our data to ask a question. So you can think of an ideas whereby you can ask a question to the PDFs and you can get the answers. Users can ask any questions about the documents of your system, documents of your company, and it will work. So let's ask another question here. Let's ask another question. Let's scroll down. So let's copy this one. When children should be excluded or dismissed from childcare settings. So let's copy this one, and our chat will be able to answer this question. So we can do this. I can do this. Let's run and we can wait for the result. Let's wait for the response here. You can see this is the second question that we asked to our AI model, and we got this response. And this data is coming from this embeddings. You can see it's coming from these embeddings, and we are getting the correct answer. Let's see if you are getting the correct. I trust ChatGPT. This model is something else. Let's see. Based on our question, when children should be excluded or dismissed from childcare settings. So we can see here we have fever, oral temperature, we have vomiting illness, we have rash with fever or behavior change. So let's go to our document to see if we are going to see these points. So we can go to our document, our PDF. You can see we have this one, temperature, oral temperature. We have this vomiting illness. We have rash with fever for behavior change. So it's summarized some of the things which are necessary for this one, you can see rash, vomiting, illness, and these are the answers, and it shows that these answers are correct after we asked it questions about this, and it's not picking uh, everything that like it's not going off topic, and its answers correctly. So let's create our API now, a REST API, because right now I'm just running this one. So let's try to implement into our API. So in our API, we can create, we have this one, which is a chat, but I don't want to use this one. I can create another method that I can call, let me create another method that I can call this one. I can call a PDF chat, or I can say vector chat. I don't know what I can call it. Tell me in the comment section, what do I call this method? It's one of the things that developers are struggling to do, and they are developing. So most probably we use the from the business analyst team. Usually they guide us with the documentation, so you can create a method knowing what's really happening. Tell me guys in the comment section. So right now I'll just say a document chat. Here I'll just say chat. I can call this method document chat. This is the name of my method, and it's going to be a post, and I'll post a question. It's going to be a simple one. I don't want to complicate things here. I'm not doing. Then here I can my AI, it's AI chatbot. From then I will call this AI chatbot, and I can call this chat. So I will ask any question and I get the response into my Postman. So let me restart this, and I want to look in our application YAML. It's called Spring AI. So I can copy this. This is the AI. Here it was question, and I said document chat. So from this document chat, I will go and copy the question that I was using previously, and I just want to copy this one. And I will send this one to the API, and I'm getting 400. Let's see what's really the problem is. Let's look to our API, and here it's a question and document chat. So I think I sent a wrong. Here I made a mistake. Here it's supposed to be a question. I'll just say question, and here the name, the path is document chat, and I'll send a request. So now let's wait to get a response from our application. So you can see we got the answer, point number 1 to point number 5, as I showed you, like diarrhea illness, rash, vomiting illness, signs of possible such as this one, and if child temperature is oral temperature. And based on what you have, I showed you these 5 points have been explained, and it uses artificial intelligence to describe all these things. All these 5 have been explained, and as you can see, the answer is not as it is in the document, but it has been changed and to make it simple so that any user would understand. Let's pick another one from our document. We can pick another question. When should you let's go here. we want to ask a question about child abuse. So we want to ask this thing to summarize about child abuse. Summarize about child abuse, and we can send this. Let's wait for a response. Is a serious issue of NH division for children, youth. So this, you can see this thing has been summarized based on what we have in our document. And the name that are being shown here are in the document. So everything that was mentioned about child abuse has been summarized here. So it's summarized. You can see if you suspect child NH state has been summarized here. So let's look for a question. Let's look for a question. We want to look for a question: pets in children facilities. And I can come here and let's ask this question. I don't want it to summarize, maybe. Oh, sorry. I just copied. I will paste this one and I'll send this one. Let's wait to get the answer. You can see when it comes to having pets in child facilities, you can see we have this one, these points from 1 to 7 from our document. Let's see how many points do we have. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So here it generated 7. Should always properly supervised. Areas should be designated for animals. And as you can see, these are the, you see, if designated area for animals. You can see it has summarized anything. And the point number 7 was the contact information for concerning about pets. So that's the point number 7, which is here. For any concern about pet childcare facility, please contact with these phone numbers that you are seeing here. You can see with the correct phone numbers. So this is how you can integrate your application with ChatGPT. You can ask questions, you can do whatever you think of with this knowledge. This data has been stored into a vector store database, and we didn't hard code anything, and you can ask questions. You have learned about using these prompts. You have learned about using prompt templates, system roles and user roles, how these are differentiated from each other. On the previous video tutorial, you learned how to save this data into your database as an embeddings. And in this one, we're focusing on asking questions. So if you are new to this channel, may you kindly subscribe, click the notification bell so that you'll be notified whenever you upload new video. Salut coders, I'm signing out.